A Black executive denied promotion for being too articulate. Put up the picture full mass. It's a hell of a story. Per the AP, Chantel Adams, high-ranking marketing executive who earned her Master of Business Administration from the University of North Carolina, has struggled to earn as much money as her counterparts amid the present pay gap between men and women. The disparity being more significant for women of color with the same education level as men. Even her achievements and solid work ethic were not considered enough to secure promotion at her own company. And then the plot thickens. Quote, I was so articulate and sharp that I was intimidating some people. Adams, who also claimed to have taken on an extra workload, told the Associated Press in the Wire Services feature story about gender pay disparities. I have nearly $300,000 of post-high school education. It would be surprising if I weren't articulate and sharp. The AP cited a study from the US Census Bureau which revealed that women who graduated from a prominent university or have obtained a post-secondary certificate are paid 71 cents on the dollar compared to men of the same educational background. Separately, although Black women are pursuing degrees at a high rate, they're still making less money than white men who did not even graduate at all. Put it up, full mass. Galen Burroughs, Director of Workplace Equality and Senior Counsel for National Women's Law Center, said during an interview with Chief.com, quote, we're getting the degrees and we have huge educational gains, but we still have to work twice as hard to get the same pay as someone who has less education than we do. It's like we're making the same investments in ourselves that other people are making, but our return on our investment is burdened by structural racism and sexism. Speaking to the AP, Adams explained that one of her colleagues who did not even have an MBA received a promotion over her throughout her career. Adams has utilized mentorship, networking, and consistently job hopping to combat pay gaps. Quote, it's unreasonable and unfair to hold someone's strengths against them. I would consider that as something that is race-based, Adams said, adding, I knew that I needed to be intentional and move with urgency as I navigated my career in order to work against that headwind. When those opportunities were not afforded me within one company, I've gone somewhere else. And so here's the other thing. Many times individuals in this particular category and corporate scheme will simply have to work extra jobs. We'll have to pick up extra opportunities to simply bridge the gap here. But the statistics are clear. They actually were going in the right direction under President Barack Obama because his DOJ would actually actively pursue major corporations who showed this expressed disparity. Well, under Trump, that number started going back in the wrong direction because his attorney general decided to rescind those particular executive actions and those consent decrees. So that means there's an actual structural issue happening inside of the workplace because once you calculate education, work history, and work performance, it still doesn't line up. The disparity is adverse to Black women in particular. All right, Ms. Dahl, thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, the research definitely shows the disparity in pay and promotion with women of color. I mean, it's that men in power are white men and they want to hear from other white men. I mean, that's the most blunt way to put it. And so if you're a woman of color, you are working up against this. And there usually is this like glass ceiling, as you would say. And the hard part is that new Supreme Court case that just came out, banning diversity in college admissions is also going to have implications in the corporate world because a lot of private companies, in trying to combat this structural racism, as you would say, are doing things like in law firms. They'll say a lot of private big corporations will only hire a law firm if their ownership is majority owned, like a diverse ownership. And those kind of programs that are trying to even the playing field are all going to come into question because of the Supreme Court. And so that's why, if anybody ever wonders, why does the Supreme Court matter to me? It's because of things like that. But that's unfortunately the reality of somebody like her, who is trying really the best she can and does need structural support, let's say, to combat the structural inequality that's baked in.
That's right. And the way I break it down to students, if something is intentionally constructed, you must intentionally deconstruct the construction. That's all we're talking about when it comes to equity and inclusion.